Brodey was a small sparrow with one crooked tail feather that always pointed the wrong way, no matter how hard he tried to smooth it down. Every morning, the birds of Maple Hollow lined up on the big branch to fly to the meadow together, wings buzzing with excitement for the day ahead. And every morning, Brodey was last. Last to wake, last to stretch his wings, last to take off into the pale morning sky. "Hurry up, Brodey," the other birds would chirp, already gliding ahead in a bright, noisy cluster. Brodey would flap hard, pushing his small wings as fast as they could go, but somehow he was always behind. Last to reach the berry bush, last to find a good perch in the shade, last to get a turn at the water puddle after the rain. The other sparrows didn't mean to be unkind. They were just quick and busy and used to moving on without looking back. Slowly, they stopped waiting for him. And somewhere deep inside, in a small, quiet corner of his heart, Brodey began to believe something heavy. Maybe last is just who I am.
One morning, Brodey's crooked feathers started to droop even more than usual. His feathers looked duller, less like the shiny brown of the other sparrows, and more like dry autumn leaves. He was slower to eat, slower to sing his morning song, slower to even try. "What's the point?" Brodey whispered to himself, watching the others fly off without him yet again. "I'll just be last anyway." That was Brodey's mistaken belief, and it was about to cost him more than he knew. The next day, the flock raced to find the sweetest berries on the hillside. Brodey trailed far behind, muttering his refrain under his breath. "I'm always last. I'm always last." By the time he arrived, panting, the bush was bare. Just a few crushed leaves left where the berries had been. A few days later, the flock rushed to build cozy nests before the coming rain. Brodey arrived last again, saying the same tired words. "I'm always last. I'm always last," and ended up with only a few loose, crooked twigs, building a nest with a wide hole in the roof. Then, when the flock competed to find the warmest patch of sun on the big rock, Brodey arrived to find every good spot taken and had to sit shivering in the shade, still whispering his sad little refrain. Days passed, weeks passed. Brodey's wings grew tired, not from flying, but from believing over and over that he never could. Then came the big storm. Dark clouds rolled over Maple Hollow, and wind howled through the branches like something wild and angry. Every bird scrambled for shelter, wings pumping hard against the gusts. Brodey, last as always, was still searching for a safe branch when the rain hit. Cold, heavy, sudden. His weak little nest, the one built from loose twigs, collapsed around him in seconds, scattering into the storm. He sat shivering on a bare, wet branch, feathers soaked flat against his tiny body, all alone in the howling dark. And here was the hardest part of all. Brodey had once shared his own berries with a hungry sparrow chick who had nothing to eat. But now, when he needed help most, no one came for him. The one who always gave had no one giving back. That's when old Granwing, the eldest owl of the hollow, wide-eyed and calm even in the storm, glided down and landed beside him on the shaking branch. "Little Brodey," she said gently, folding a wing over him like a blanket, "you are not slow because something is wrong with you. A stream that takes the long way still reaches the sea. A seed planted late still grows into a tall, strong tree. And a bird who flies at his own pace still learns to soar higher than he ever imagined." She said it once, twice, 3 times, each time in a different way, until the words settled
deep into Brodey's heart like warm sunlight after rain. Nearby, huddled under a leaf, the other sparrows watched him shiver alone, and something uncomfortable stirred in their chests. They realized all at once that they had never once waited for their friend.
The next morning, the storm had passed, and golden sunlight broke through the clouds, dripping off every leaf like liquid honey. Brodey woke, not last this time, but at his own time, in his own quiet moment. He stretched his wings slowly, carefully, the way Grandwing had shown him the night before. He flew to the meadow at his own pace, unhurried, and for the first time, he noticed things the fast flyers always missed. The sweetest berries hidden low under wide leaves, the safest branch tucked away from the wind, the softest moss growing near the stream for a warm, dry nest. "Aren't you worried you'll be last again?" one sparrow asked, landing beside him, genuinely curious. Brodey smiled, and there was no sadness in it this time. "I'm not racing anymore," he said. "I'm noticing." And because he took his time, Brodey built the strongest nest in the whole hollow, thick, woven, and warm. One that didn't just survive the next storm, but kept two smaller birds safe and dry inside it when the rain came again. His feathers grew brighter with each passing day, glossy and full. His crooked tail feathers still pointed the wrong way, but now it didn't matter at all. It was simply Brodey's, and Brodey had stopped apologizing for it. Grandwing watched from her branch high above and called out to all the young birds gathered below. Don't chase the fastest wing. Don't fear the last landing. Fly your own flight and trust where it takes you. And Brodey, once the sparrow who was always last, became the sparrow who taught the whole hollow this: being last to arrive doesn't mean you're last to matter. If you like this story, don't forget to subscribe